there, I'm Linda. Welcome to Rightfully So, where we delve into the Encyclopedia of Human Rights, a free digital resource available through Gwinnett County Public Library's website. Today we're going to learn a little about civil and political rights. After World War II, in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted, which prompted the United Nations Commission on Human Rights to draft the International Bill of Human Rights. The IBHR was officially adopted by the General Assembly in 1966. It contains the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, as well as the first optional protocol for both covenants. A covenant or convention is a binding treaty coming into force upon ratification by a certain number of states and assuming these states adhere to the treaty in good faith. 193 member states of the United Nations all participate in upholding the IBH. The United Nations Human Rights Committee, distinct from the UN Human Rights Council, monitors the ICCPR's progress. Civil and political rights include things like the right to life, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, electoral rights, rights to due process and a fair trial, and freedom from torture or arbitrary arrest. Specifically, the Covenant on Civil and Political Rights emphasizes non-derogable rights, which are rights that cannot be suspended during periods of emergency. In other words, they are rights that cannot be infringed upon or justified under any circumstances by a state. Humans of every race, color, sex, language, religion, or social origin are entitled to these rights. However, most of these rights are not absolute and are derogable. They are subject to reasonable limitations, like in instances where there are threats to national security, public order, or the general welfare of a democratic society. Regardless, the right not to be held in slavery and the right to be free from torture are absolute. The ICCPR also protects the right to life, stating that no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his or her life. In countries where the death penalty has not been abolished, like in the United States, the sentence may be imposed for only the most serious crimes in accordance with the law and carried out pursuant to final judgment by a competent court. Economic, social, and cultural rights, on the other hand, are things that cannot be immediately enforced. According to the Encyclopedia of Human Rights, economic, social, and cultural rights are to be implemented, quote, to the maximum of available resources, unquote. So citizens must immediately cease to be tortured, but governments are not immediately required to make sure that their citizens have food, clothes, or shelter. These rights also include the right to physical and mental health, social security, a healthy environment, and education. The Center for Economic and Social Rights sums up the necessity for both covenants in a perspicuous way by stating that, quote, the right to speak freely means little without a basic education. The right to vote means little if you are suffering from starvation. Similarly, the right to work means little if you are not allowed to meet and assemble in groups to discuss work conditions, unquote. Join us next month when we talk about the history of human rights around the world.